As I've researched and interacted with teachers across the country, what I am discovering is that it is definitely not uncommon for teachers to decide to leave the profession altogether. Another interesting thing that I'm finding is that many more younger teachers, first year teachers, second year teachers, third year teachers are making the decision to transition into another career. And because of that, what I want to do with this episode is I want to give you three tips to to transition out of education. Three things that you need to know as you begin to make your transition out of education. I feel, no, I believe in my heart that every teacher should feel valued, they should be respected. I carried that with me as an administrator. As an administrator, I would always tell teachers that I take great pride in the fact that I never, ever, ever forgot what it was like to be a teacher. I was never ashamed. Well, I was never shy to tell this story that kind of made me ashamed of myself. When I was a teacher, I almost lost a friendship with another teacher over a piece of furniture, because both of us had laid claim to a piece of furniture, and there was almost a falling out between friends who were teachers over a piece of furniture. So I'll never ever ever forget what it's like to be a teacher, and I'll never forget what it was like to want my administration to respect me, to respect my time, to allow me to have the time that I needed to 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 be a professional, to plan my lessons, to to work with students, to call parents, to do my job. That's what I wanted. And it is my prayer that the teachers that I work with, they can give that testament that I was respectful to them, and I I I didn't I wasn't in an ivory tower of administration, without a thought or without a care of what it was like to be a teacher. So let's talk about things. I want to give you these three keys to help you transition. If this is what you're thinking that you want to do, let's do it the right way. Let's do it the right way. So number one, what I want you to do is I want you to give yourself time to think it through. Give yourself some time to think it through, because our feelings are temporary. We could be feeling one way at a certain point in time, but as time goes on, maybe we feel a little bit different. And that's how our emotions work. That's how our feelings work. So what I don't want you to do is I don't want you to make a long-term decision based on short-term feelings. So understand the thoughts that are running through your mind. Give it some time, meditate on it, think about it. Take some time. Take a couple days off. And that's one thing that I told teachers as well when I was an administrator. You have time, use it. Like, you had a rough situation here. I think you need to take a mental health day. Take some time. Yes, I know tomorrow's Friday. Still, go ahead and take your day. You have time off, use your time off. So that's what I want you to do. I want you to take some time and think about it. Next up, I want you, and you got to be careful with this, I want you to talk to a trusted colleague. Okay? Talk to a colleague about what you're feeling. Ask them to help you navigate through those feelings, through those thoughts. Because again, it could be something just very temporary, something that's typical that many teachers they go through. It could be that dip. For me, it was February. February of each school year, I hit this I hit this low point where I just felt like, I just feel like I'm not making a difference, because it's like it's the same. A lot of times you're challenging your students Your students who are challenging, your students who pull on your ability to lead a class, manage a class. Sometimes it could just seem like, I'm not getting anywhere with this student. I'm giving this student my best stuff and I'm not getting anywhere. And it's just frustrating. And so I knew that about myself, that when February came along, I was going to be feeling this kind of way and I was going to be battling this. So at the very least, I knew that about me. I knew it was coming. And so if I had a thought of, maybe I shouldn't do this anymore, I knew that, this is just temporary. Maybe take a day or two off, which I wasn't shy about doing, and then get your thoughts together, process things correctly, and then get back at it. So yeah, talk to trusted colleagues, because one thing that I missed about when I was an administrator, one thing I missed about being a teacher is that teachers support teachers. I love getting in that circle during passing time with the rest of my fellow teachers. I love, we talked about a number of things and we supported each other. And I love that. Now, with that, talking to a trusted colleague, you need to understand who you can talk to, because teachers support teachers, but there are those teachers who also talk about teachers. And you need to know the difference. You need to know people. You need to know who's not going to, if you tell them something, they're not going to run and put your business out there. And then the rest of the school knows, and eventually it gets back to your administrator. You don't want that. So you need to find a trusted colleague that you can talk to, bounce ideas off, and it's going to be a safe space. Most times your department leader is going to be a good person for that, because they've been tapped as a leader for a reason, because they've been trusted by the rest of the teachers. So yeah, you want to talk that through. Talk that through with someone. Now, if you can't find anyone in your building, you perhaps you can go to another teacher from another building, or maybe an online community, and anonymously just post your thoughts and get some feedback. So there's a number of ways that you can do that. Get some advice. Allow someone to speak into your life and give you some feedback. But you definitely want to do that. You want to give yourself time to really think it through. Like, is this what I really want to do, or is this something temporary? All right. So the other thing along with that, giving yourself time to think it through, is I want you to be certain that this is what you want. I want you to be certain that this is what you want. I remember when I was a first year teacher, I would worry about things that were just out of my control. Things that are out of my control. And what I realized is that just took away a lot of my energy. I took away a lot of my energy. And so there were times when I wasn't able to give my students the very best, because I was worried about things that were not within my control. Like I have no control over what happens once a student leaves my classroom, once they go home. I'm giving them my best stuff, my best advice. I'm motivating them. I'm working hard. But once they leave my class, I have no control over that. And that is frustrating, because oftentimes I felt myself, I'm turning a corner with this student. I mean, I'm giving them my very best stuff. This is good stuff. The student's actually thinking about their decision making. But then once they leave, my words and my influence and my motivation just kind of wears off a little bit, and that's just natural. But I had no control over that. So you need to be certain that this is what you want. So do not worry about things that you can't control. Sometimes you're going to have traumatic things that happen, such as maybe a fight that happens in your classroom. That's traumatic. That's traumatic. And so you need to give yourself time. Give yourself permission to take some time away from that. Or maybe it was a situation with a parent, and the parent was just completely out of line, and they were just unloading on you because they're frustrated with their inability to correct their child, and they're unloading on you, and that's not cool either. And so you need to take time to really think that through, to make sure, because you don't want to leave you don't want to leave this you don't want to leave this commitment. You don't want to leave this service because of one incident with a parent. Because as time goes on, you're gonna realize that, you know what, this is not such a big deal that would require me to leave this service. I love doing what I'm doing. Yes, we had an isolated incident with a parent. We worked through it. Principal was very supportive. I can put this in the rear view mirror and I can continue leading my classroom. Okay? And you know what, ladies and gentlemen, there are just those other things we can't control. We can't control what admin is going to do for PD. Okay? Sadly, yeah, a lot of it's going to be at times that are not convenient for you when you have other things that you could be doing. I got papers to grade, parents to call, lessons to plan. That's always going to be the case. And amazingly, when you think about it, it's just amazing that with these distractions, us as teachers, we're able to get the job done. We're able to do an excellent job. So hats off to you if you really think about that. There's just a ton of distractions. I gotta, I gotta spend some of my planned time to go to this IEP meeting. The parent wants to come in for an in-person meeting. They said, no, I don't want to do virtual. I want to come in for an in-person meeting. Oh, I got this PD that's been on the books for months. And then when I go in, it appears that the administrator didn't fully plan things out. It's just a bunch of sit and get. So those distractions, we navigate those distractions and we're able to still do a great job. So again, kudos to you. Give yourselves a round of applause that you're able to do that. That just hit me. That isn't even in my notes, but it's just amazing what you're able to do. And the other part of that, when we talk about the distractions and things that we can't control, students, times have changed. Times have changed. And when we talk about student behavior, yeah, student behavior is largely it's a deciding factor for many teachers in terms of why they either leave the profession or they're thinking about leaving the profession. It's a different world that we live in, ladies and gentlemen. It really is. And I remember I had trouble understanding parents and where they were coming from. And then I made up my mind that I was going to check myself and remind myself that, hey, Marvin, you haven't raised the teenager. You have not done that. So don't judge this parent too harshly here. Even though this student is really pulling on your energy and perhaps trying to distract your class. They're not doing what they need to do in class. Yes, that can be frustrating. But it's just really interesting because now I have children. They're about to be 10 years old in December. And still I go back and I think about some of the decisions made by parents. And I just I come back and I start to think, you know what? I was right. I was right in my judgment of that parent. I mean, perhaps you should withhold some privileges and benefits from your children if they're not doing what they're supposed to do in school. No, I'm not crazy. You should do that as parents. And let me not go down that road. We're not talking about parents and what they could do to help us in the classroom as teachers. So we have no control over those things. So I want you to keep that in mind as you give yourself time to really think it through. We don't have control over those things, but we can still navigate those things. We can still deal with those things and be excellent teachers. You can do that. So that's number one. I want you to give yourself time to think it through. All right. Number two, when we talk about how to if you want to leave the teaching profession, this is my second tip to help you do it the right way. Number two, I want you to plan your exit strategy. Plan your exit strategy, ladies and gentlemen. And this is what I mean by this. I want you to do it professionally. Okay? There is this past year, 23-24 school year, that was my last year as an administrator. I'm taking some time off, and I'll get into that a little in another video. But I'm taking some time off, so this school year is going on, and I'm not a part of it. And it's just really crazy because I have moments, I have thoughts in my mind where I'll check the clock. Like right now, as I'm recording this, it's 10:39 in the morning. The bell is going to ring in 4 minutes. In 4 minutes, lunch is going to begin. I know that. Like, lunch is going to go begin, and I'm going to have to go to my duty. As a matter of fact, what I'd be doing now is I'd be grabbing a microphone and I'd be the MC during lunch. Just kind of greeting students, letting them know, hey, here's what's for lunch, giving them some announcements about what's happening on campus after school. But anyways, it feels really good when you do this the right way. You make the decision, you're about to go out. It feels good because then it's just all about, you can just really, really focus in on serving others. And I really, really enjoyed that when I made my decision. Okay, I'm not coming back, so let me maximize the time that I have with these individuals, my colleagues who I'm working with, the students who I'm serving. I want to leave them with a smile. Let me give them the best possible service. Oh gosh, that feels so good. That feels so good. So, okay, let's get back to number two. You want to plan your exit strategy. Feels good when you made your decision and you're at peace with it, because then you can really go in with people. So you want to do it professionally, ladies and gentlemen. And here's what I mean by that. I want you to write a letter of resignation. Write a formal letter of resignation. And then I want you to make sure that you're thankful for the opportunity. Like in this letter, you express your gratitude. Lots of gratitude, ladies and gentlemen. And then what I want you to do is I want you to make sure that you maintain positive relationships throughout the remainder of that year when you make the decision that you're going to leave. Also, I want you to make sure that you make this decision in a timely manner. So because what you don't want to do is you don't want to leave the school in a bind where they're struggling and they're shuffling to try to find a teacher. You don't want to do it 2 weeks before the school year is supposed to begin. That's why I'm told you in the first tip, I want you to give yourself time to really think it through, and you need to meditate and be intentional about that time prior to when your contract is due, so that the school they have enough time to find a good candidate to take over your position. Of course, they're not going to be as good as you, but still give the school some time to take over, to do a nice search to find someone who's going to take over your position. So professionally, we're professional. We're writing a letter of resignation. Overall theme in that letter, gratitude. As you're going, maintain those positive relationships. That's what I really enjoyed after I made my decision that I wasn't coming back for the 24-25 school year. Now it's just about, hey, I want to spend some time with you. I want to, what can I do for you during the remainder of my time here? What can I do for you? What can I tell the next person about you and your needs? Yada, yada, yada. That's what it was all about. So you maintain those positive relationships and leave people with a smile. Like, leave them with a smile. Leave them missing you and wanting you to come back. And then, also, I want you to make yourself available for an exit interview. Make yourself available for an exit interview. Now, it may not happen. It may not happen. I think it absolutely should happen whenever a teacher leaves the profession or decides to go to another school building. I believe that's just mandatory that administration requests an exit interview to get feedback from the teacher. Like I don't know I don't know why that doesn't happen very often. It feels like it doesn't happen very often, but within my bubble. But I think that that's something that's mandatory. You need to have that information. You need to have that feedback. That's valuable feedback from someone who is leaving. All right. So, under plan, when we talk about planning your exit strategy, what I want you to do as well is I want you to count the cost. And what I mean by that is I want you to consult a financial planner, or at the very least review your budget, because what I want you to do is I want you to know and be sure of, okay, this is what my life looks like now with X amount of money as a teacher. And I'm going to need this amount of money in order to at least maintain my lifestyle. Because I also want you to remember that, you know, it's with summers, we have a little bit more flexibility. Even if we do teach summer school, you still have a little bit of extra flexibility. And I can imagine that if I was a new teacher now, I would probably, yeah, I would probably do summer school, even though, whew, I salute to all of you who are still doing summer school. I salute you. Thank you so much for your service. I appreciate you for doing summer school. But yeah, if I was a new teacher, I would do summer school, and I would probably be doing some gigs as well, because we have to, we have to, we have to account for inflation as well. And so I can just only imagine how that affects a new teacher, single. So yeah, that's what I would probably be doing. So when I say, count the costs, I want you to consider that. I want you to consider potentially losing that flexibility to do gigs for a few weeks during the summer. So it's a wise thing to do, ladies and gentlemen. It's a wise thing to do. At the very least, if you don't want to get a financial planner, at the very least, just review your budget so that you know what kind of situation what kind of financial requirements you have before you just go into a new profession. Now, if you can get something that's going to pay you significantly more, then there you go. So you're good there. But I want you to be wise about this. I don't want you to make this decision just quickly, just with just a lot of emotion. I want you to be very thoughtful in everything that you do, because remember, the title of this podcast is Teachers Are Leaders. Teachers are leaders. That's what we believe here at the Marvin Bird Show. That teachers are leaders. So you lead your classroom, but you also have to lead yourself as well. Now, so that's two. The third one. This is very important. Number three, I want you to. Well, before I share with you the third one, what I want to share with you is this, and I'm going to give you the link to this post. I made a post, there, when you go into an interview. Let's say you do decide to leave teaching. You go into the interview. One of the first things that you're going to be asked is, so, hey, tell us why you're leaving the classroom. I made a post on marvinbird.com. It's a short, simple blog post. Won't take you very long to get through. It's just titled 5 Things to Tell Potential New Employers About Why You Left Teaching. So it's very, very simple. And I think that if you have a strong statement to give that employer, that's going to help the rest of the interview flow very well. And I'll be honest, let me tell you this right off the bat, telling them that you want more money, that's not good. You don't want to do that. You don't want to. So tell us why you left teaching. Well, I wanted to make more money. Don't do that, ladies and gentlemen. Don't do that. So I encourage you, Link is in the description section. Go check out that blog post. It'll take you 90 seconds to read. 90 seconds of your time. That's marvinbird.com. It's a blog post. Link is in the description section. All right, let's get to number 3. This is the third and last tip to help you leave the teaching profession the right way. So number 3 is you want to go out on top. Go out on top. And I spoke about it a little bit earlier when we talk about going out on top. You want to go out on top because you want people to wish that things were different. That, oh, I wish you could come back next year. I wish things were different. I'm really going to miss you. I hope the next person is just like you. And I want you to remember too, that yes, there are definitely challenges in education. There are definitely challenges that we as teachers face, and a lot of these challenges, they're not going to go away, and it's going to feel like we're not supported. And a lot of times it feels that way because administration, they don't have the answers themselves. They're struggling. But I want to remind you that there are kids in your class who are listening and who do want to learn. And so my challenge to you is, if this is what you desire to do, you desire to leave teaching, no judgment against you for that. But my challenge to you is to continue to give those kids your very best, because ultimately the year is coming to an end. And I've been there. I've been there numerous times where it just felt like the year is dragging on. I just wasn't feeling it. I was feeling frustrated. Felt like there were times where when I did feel like, man, I'm just not making a difference, because I'm looking at these few students who I'm just really trying to turn around their decision making, because I know what happens. I know what happens if they continue on that path. And it frustrates me for them. And, just ultimately I had to get to a point where I had to remind myself that, hey, I can't, if I care more than them, I'm going to burn myself out. And I'm not going to be any good to the rest of the students. And that thinking is really what helped me my last 5 years of teaching. That helped me get through that last 5 years of teaching, or else I probably would have been wanting to do something else. So the year is coming to an end. So I want you to go out on top, give it your best. Let everyone see that you've even though you've made this decision, you're giving it your best. You're still doing your PD. You're still trying different things. You still are trying to grow as an educator. Even though your time as an educator is coming to an end, you're leaving everyone with a smile, and you're leaving the profession with no regrets. You can look back and say, you know what? Woo! Johnny drove me crazy sometimes, but you got the very best of me. So I have no regrets when I look back on my time working with Johnny, serving Johnny, gave Johnny my very best. So keep that in mind. You can be unhappy. You can be unhappy and do an excellent job on your way out the door. It's possible. It is definitely possible. And why is that possible? Well, it's possible because you understand your personal mission. This is why we, as administrators, we talk about the why in the PD sessions. And I really do feel, we talk about that here with this podcast, because I think it is very important, because that's going to help propel you when things get tough. When you understand your why it still stands. It's still relevant no matter what is going on. To serve your students, That's always important. Even though you're frustrated with administration, even though you may have a few students who are just really, really making it tough and they're pulling on a lot of your attention, there's still a lot of students to be served. Your why, that mission statement is still relevant. There's still a job to be done right in front of you. So even though you're leaving, I want you to go out on top, never losing sight of that mission statement, never losing sight of your why. And with each and every day remaining that you have as a teacher, really living, pushing yourself to live up to that mission statement, to honor your why. Because again, there are still those kids in your classroom and they deserve nothing but the very best from you, because they only have so much time with you as their teacher. That time it's ultimately coming to an end. So my challenge to you is I want you to go out on top and you give it your very, very best. Because when you look back, you're not going to have any regrets. Well, thank you so much. To those of you who are thinking you're thinking about doing something different, definitely pray for you. No judgment towards you at all. You've got to take care of yourself. You got to take care of yourself so that you can take care of others. But I would imagine I submit to you that if you go through those steps, you're going to be in a better place once you've made that decision. Or after thinking about it, you may decide that that's not exactly what you want to do, and that's okay as well. So thank you so much for your time here. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Don't forget to check out the link in the description section. That's going to give you some value as well. Those some power statements that you can tell your potential new employer about why you left teaching. And also don't forget to check out our other YouTube channel, Bird Links, for the latest and trending news in education. So once again, thank you so much for your time. And until we meet again, please don't forget that teachers are leaders.